welcome. Today's reading will be about kind of prepping. It will be because I've just done the collective energy reading and it's showing that the leaders are not quite being honest with us. It's like a strategic way. People are beginning to lose trust for leaders being honest with us about what's going on. So here on our media in Australia, we're being told that the crisis is a usage crisis. We've heard all kinds of things from our government here in Australia. The reason why a lot of the fuel stations no longer have fuel, we're starting to see around us in regional areas. I'm in regional areas outside of Sydney, so we're really starting to see very, very high prices, especially with the diesel and shortages. There's all through towards the mining area, there's service stations shutting down. I have family that are primary producers and unable to get fuel for their farm. And this is first-hand experience. This is a very close relative of mine that owns a cattle farm and went in to get fuel for the tractor, the trucks, whatever he needs to run his farm. First fuel station he went to said, no, I cannot give you that much. The second one he went to was closed, didn't have anything, and the third one that he went to would let him buy that much, but he had to pay a lot of money for it. So that does affect farmers' bottom line. It affects their ability to be able to harvest their crops, also run their cattle or whatever it is that they do on the farm. So I do know for a fact, first-hand experience, this is a very close relative of mine that this is happening to. We're affected by it. We're feeling it here. Now we're supposed to have a certain in storage of fuel to keep the country running, but then we're told it's only 30 days and it hasn't even been 30 days and we're already seeing shortages and shutdowns and prices going through the roof. So I'm going to really want to focus in today on, should we be concerned about food shortages? Should we be concerned? Should we start to prepare? Now, I'm asking this for me personally because I'd like to know. I've been the other night dreaming of planting potatoes. Now, potatoes take a little while to harvest, so that's showing me that this could be an ongoing thing for months. Now, we're also told by specialists or by professionals that even if the war was to stop right now, there would still be issues in supply and demand here in Australia for the next 8 weeks after that, and that's without the war even. That's with the war stopping right now. So, and me dreaming about planting potatoes shows me into the future and being prepared for shortages in the future or higher food prices in the future. So I just want to do a little bit of a card reading to see if we really should be starting to strategic plan for our personal lives, for our, feeding our families, for fuel, all of those kind of things. Now let's just get straight into this reading. I'm using the predictions deck, but I think that I might also just use my governance as well. I think the governance might be the better deck for this kind of reading. So I will pull a couple of cards out of the predictions deck, but I think I'm going to primarily do this reading with the governance. And already they're telling me change decks. So this is the deck that I'm using today, the governance. Governance is great for when you're reading about the state of economy, because there's lots of cards in here about the state of the economy, but also about rulers, governments, and the state of different countries as well, not only economically, but what we can expect to be coming. So this is why I'm reading this deck today. So this one is going to be for everybody. I am going to also do a very direct question about should we be starting to stock up on food across the world, and then I'm going to do a prediction for Australia at the end. So for anyone that lives in Australia, hear what's coming or what we should be doing, and if it's any different to how the world is reacting. Now, first, just general energies about what's going on with the war, and not being told about the feeling of having the truth kept from us about what's really going on. Now, we've got the illusion card. We don't have anything here about food shortages, but I am seeing the card of distraction or illusion. So it's all just a distraction or just an illusion. But I do see a lot of anguish, perhaps even panic buying or blaming. And actually, this is what is happening in Australia at the moment. Now, we've had the government come out and say we're not in a fuel crisis. We are in a usage crisis. So panic buying, blaming the people for going out and buying extra fuel and sitting it in jerry cans, so that the government is blaming the people for certain people for stocking up on extra fuel. That's the reason we have the shortage, not because they haven't kept enough in reserve for us to last more than a month. It's because the people are panic buying fuel. So this is what's going on. We're getting the blame game there and panic buying. This to me looks like panic buying to me. So worried that you better get it while the price is down. Even though the price is going up, it's going to keep rising and keep going up. So people are starting to panic buy now with that energy. So we're seeing, I don't know if it's other governments doing it, but I know our government is doing it, blaming the people for panic buying fuel. I also feel that over here for power or money, I feel like governments are being careful in what they're saying to the people, probably because they don't want to promote panic buying. Strong card here, the blame game. But I do feel also that they are being told to say what they're saying. I feel like they're keeping things from us. Classified information, of course, means the same thing. It means that they're keeping information from us because they're scared that the fall of society and people will go into crazy panic buying, like we did here in Australia with the toilet paper in COVID. We also have a leadership battle. Leaders on oppositions saying, the ruling leaders, for us it's Labor, saying it's everything's fine, everything's going to be okay, there's no issues. But then we have other leaders or professionals going up against that and saying, look, it could be another 2 months after the war stops, which there's no indication that the war's stopping anytime soon. So we're seeing that there is issues definitely with supply and demand is what I'm hearing, but I feel like it's different leaders going up against each other that we're going to, maybe one way that we actually hear information, because we've got classified information. I feel that the parties and I'm especially feeling this with Australia, but I don't know if it's related to other countries as well. I feel that the current leaders are being very strategic in the way they're handling the system. They don't want the fall of their societies. They don't want to encourage panic buying, but so they're keeping certain things from us because they have to. But other professionals and other leaders are stepping in saying, look, this could get worse. It's going to get worse, and it could be quite a challenging 8 weeks. They've said after we start to getting demand again, we start getting supply again, I should say. There still could be distribution issues around regional areas for the next 8 weeks after that. So this is long term. This is not a quick fix. So what's being told to the public is an illusion. those two cards now make sense to me. Now that I've finished telling the whole story, we see as a general blanket read to this energy is that what is being told to the public is an illusion to prevent panic buying, blaming one thing when it's another thing, blaming the people for over usage or panic buying, keeping real information behind us so not to further escalate panic buying. But I feel that they have to. They have to do that. They've got to, in the position of power, they're responsible for the communities collapsing because of people going down into panic mode. So they're forced to have to do things. Now, I also feel coming up with this one here is forced to have to make certain agreements that they're not telling us about because it's sitting next to classified information. They are being forced to change suppliers, or they're being forced to make new trade agreements, or there's something going on here in the background that they're not letting us know. They're classified as part of a plan for money and power, probably related to the US. Also, the reasons why there's head-to-head leadership or battles going on for leaders of certain countries as well. So let's ask direct questions now. I'm going to be asking, should we start, not panic buying, but at least preparing a little bit? Because this could be long term. So that's the questions that I'm going to be asking. Should we start preparing for worst case scenario when it comes to having food supplies, or start prepping a little bit? Okay, so we have a yes on the table. Yes means it wouldn't hurt. Yes means the situation may improve. But yes, especially when it comes to medication. I would say do that today. Make sure you've got enough medication on hand. If you absolutely have to have certain medication, I would say make sure that you do that today. Make sure you're checking how much you've got, and make sure you've got a few months supply, because as I said, it's another 2 months after things de-escalate. So you're going to need to make sure that you, especially when it comes to health. So yes, we do need to the situation may improve, but we still need to be prepared for how long it takes for things to start to go back to normal. I would say easily bought, sitting with the yes. I would say don't go overwhelmed, don't be complete panic buying and hoarding, overstocking. But I would say, and especially with the cost of things at the moment, if you're seeing things on special, then grab a few extra of those things. So, being strategic in the way you're doing it. Don't be panic buying or impulsive buying, but definitely when it comes to your health, make sure you definitely have that stuff stocked up, because we've got a big yes sitting on the table. We do need to be prepared. So we've got a power shift. So it's shifting your energy from, say, having enough in your cupboards for the week or whatever you shop for, but thinking a little bit further ahead. Not all in one go. It's saying easily bought means that you're not spending thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars on panic buying and impulsive buying. You are buying a few extra things when you see them, come on sale. So because I'm seeing easily bought, it's not saying do it all in one big go. It's doing a little bit at a time, what you can afford, because we're saying doing it easy. We're not saying go out, spend all of your money on hoarding and impulsive buying. It's saying what you can easily buy, a few extra things, but definitely pay attention to anything related to health. That's going to be very important. Borders and deportation. So within boundaries, it's saying that yes, while it is saying yes, do be prepared, you do need to have borders here. You need to have boundaries. So not panic buying that you completely drain shelves and there's nothing left for anybody else. You have to think about your neighbours. You have to think about other people having enough to feed their families as well. So not panic buying, not ridiculous impulsive buying, not where you're spending all your money on crazy hoarding. because you have to be respectful of other people also needing to eat, but it is saying yes, especially when it comes to your health, and a few extra items here and there when you can easily buy them, or when you can add them on, just a few extra things, not craziness, because you've got to be respectful of not draining the shelves because we don't know if supply is going to be affected here as well when it comes to fuel. Definitely everybody straightforward and logically can think that this is going to increase the cost of food more and more as the months go on. So if you see something that you can easily buy that is on special, I would do that. Yes. But I'll keep hearing supply and demand. So when everybody goes and turns to panic buying, and they're trying to prevent panic buying because the supply, they can't get the supply in as easily as what they could before. So the supply will not meet the demand. So that's why I keep hearing supply and demand, because the supply, if everybody goes into panic mode, then the supply will not meet the demand that's going to be there. So I would say definitely with your health, you need to make sure that you've got enough essential items when it comes to your health for your family, but buy a few items where you can easily buy those items. But I do see improved situation. That's a really good card to have on the table. So, but it's also not, this card's also indicating not to escalate panic buying, because I keep hearing supply and demand, where if everybody goes out and panic buys, then we're not going to have the supply to meet the demand. So that in itself is going to cause a lot and worsen the issues. So one quick spread for Australia to see if there's anything that, just for Australia itself, coming up around this escalating tension and how it could be affecting us here in Australia. There's other countries as well that will be affected. I think Australia and New Zealand are in the end of the supply route, but I also think that Japan and South Korea are having issues with supply as well. So let's tap into the energies here of Australia and just see if there's anything the cards want to reveal. You all saw me shuffle those cards, and we've got a lot of very similar cards. So in Australia, yes, the situation may improve. Here, this looks like hoarding to me. This person's bought a whole heap of stuff and hoarding it. Maybe things are being hoarded, where they're closing down fuel stations and saying they've got no supply. Maybe they're secretly keeping supply to sell at a higher price at a later time. Who knows? Who knows how things work? But we've definitely got that yes. Definitely need to worry about the health industry. Pharmaceuticals especially. If you're on pharmaceuticals, you need to really make sure that you've got because there could be an issue with supply and demand, or getting the supply in for certain, it could go into the health industry. There could be issues around supply of certain medical or pharmaceuticals. So that is really, really an important one to be mindful of. Now I do feel, because we've got the briefed in command, we're talking about our PM, because I'm specifically talking about Australia. I am seeing here covering something up, keeping something hidden, but something is going to be revealed. Now, it's also saying good intentions. This is all across the top line. So there is some good intentions there, but there's also some things that are not being revealed to us. And this is going to be causing disappointment from the collective energy, from the people, because they just want to be briefed. They just want to know what's going on, but they just want to keep things from us and not tell us outright, you know, what we need to be worried about or what we need to do. We're not being told. We're being told that the issue is with, and it probably is. I understand that because I keep hearing supply and demand and the issues around panic buying. So I can understand it because I'm hearing it and I'm seeing it in the cards. So I'm understanding why they're doing what they're doing. I can understand the good intentions in that. because it makes things worse. It means that the supply is not there to meet the demand, and then certain people don't have what they need for their health. So I can see how it becomes a problem, especially when people are hoarding. This is a hoarding card. Especially when people are hoarding, that becomes an issue. So stock up on the things you need for the next couple of months, for the next few months. We know we've got a good 2 months after the issues, so we could be looking, I keep thinking it's around 4 months. So just make sure you've got enough on hand. I actually keep getting 4 months of supply of certain things that are essential. So just keep that in mind. But I think people being a little bit disappointed in things being not revealed to us, being kept undercover, and we just want to be informed about what we should do here. But I can understand the good intentions of not wanting the collapse of a society, not wanting to promote panic buying. So I get it. I can see it in the cards very clearly. I can feel that energy, and I understand why it's happening because I keep hearing the words about it. But the cards are also saying that you do need to not hoard, but make sure when it comes to essential items, things that you really need, make sure that you have about 4 months worth of that supply is what I'm picking up there. Thank you so much for watching.